Welcome back to Recap World. Today we are going to recap 2021 erotic thriller movie titled The Voyeurs. Innocent curiosity turns into fully blown obsession when a young couple spy on their intimate neighbors across the street. They catch them having sex and things turn out ugly. But before we begin, please consider subscribing to our channel. Now, without wasting any further time, let's begin, shall we? Our story begins with a young woman named Pippa and her boyfriend Tom. They recently moved into a new apartment and are happy to live together. At night, Tom drinks chlorophyll water, claiming it is secret of living longer. Pippa dislikes the taste and declares that she does not want to have children. Tom agrees and they kiss near the window, where they notice a couple having intimacy in the front building across the street. Pippa believes it is wrong to spy on neighbors, even though Tom enjoys it, so they stop spying and go to bed. Pippa dresses up in lingerie and wishes to celebrate their first night in the new home. But when she goes to bed, she discovers Tom sleeping. Pippa goes to work the next day with her friend Ari and tells her about the neighbors. Ari tells her that they might be weirdos and intend to let others see them, so Pippa should not feel guilty about watching them. Pippa is an eye doctor who works at an eye clinic. One of her co-workers, a Japanese doctor, gives her an empty bird cage and tells her about its deep meaning in Japan. Pippa returns home and finds Tom chalk drawing. She loves it and greets him. Then they sit close to the window to watch the neighbors. They name them Margaret and Brent, so they can easily describe them when they talk about them, and suddenly they see Brent choking. There's no time to call 911 and Tom decides to go there to save him. But Margaret sees Brent choking and saves him. Meanwhile, Pippa and Tom cheer for them across. Pippa can't sleep at night and gets out of bed to get a drink. She sees Margaret leaving the house and Brent naked in the window. She turns on while seeing the man's body. On the following day, Tom drinks his water while working. He's a music producer. He looks out the window and he knows that Brent is a photographer. He has a photo session in his house and touches a girl's butt to flirt with her. At night, Pippa buys binoculars and spies on their neighbors with Tom. They see that Brent has the morning girl in his place and cheats on Margaret. Pippa can't sleep at night, goes to watch the neighbors. She discovers that Margaret has returned home and messes with Brent on the bed. Pippa feels bad that Margaret because she is in love with her cheating life partner. Pippa goes with her boyfriend to see his sister, Johnny, with her girlfriend Ari in a cafe. She tells him about when she saw last night Johnny thinks Brent might be doing with Margaret in a consensual way. She tells her friends about her brother. When he was in college, he used to be capable of using laser beam to hear his crush's conversation. Pippa is intrigued and asks Tom to explain how that was possible at home. He explains how sound waves can change the frequency of the light beam and how he can receive the beam after it has been reflected with the new changes and converted into the audio. They need a mirror in the neighbor's apartment, so they attend a Halloween party in thieves' disguise. Brent likes how they look and takes photos of the moment. Later, Tom catches Brent cheating in an orgy in the bathroom. Meanwhile, Pippa manages to attach a mirror to a statue to reflect the laser beam. When they return home after completing the mission, they aim the laser at the neighbor but do not see the reflection. Pippa wipes off the chalk drawing that Tom drew, then collides the wipers, causing the chalk dust to detect the reflection. They pass it through a converter and hear that what is going across now. They find out that neighbors as if it were a live TV. They hear Margaret accuses Brent of cheating. Brent lies and makes her feel guilty for the accusation. Pippa feels bad about Margaret and keeps thinking about her work. She is surprised when she sees Margaret in the clinic and goes to meet her. She learns that Margaret's real name is Julia and she is looking for new classes. After the exam, Julia invites Pippa to lunch and takes her phone number. Meanwhile, Tom works and becomes distracted when he sees Brent doing a photo shoot with a naked black girl. He overhears their conversation and witnesses them having sex. Pippa tells Tom about Julia and how she wants to be friends with her. Tom tells her about the black girl and Pippa wants to tell Julia about Brent, but Tom tells her not to and he gets angry and goes for a walk. Pippa observes Julia wearing hot lingerie and attempting to seduce her husband. Sebastian is Brent's real name and they are married. But Sebastian does not feel like having sex tonight and leaves her alone on the bed. Pippa meets Julia for the lunch the next day, but they go to a spa instead, where they learn a lot about each other while swimming. When Pippa learns that Julia is having difficulties with her husband, she asks her if she is okay and refers to her as Margaret. Julia is perplexed and says that she was dressed as Margaret for Halloween last year. Sebastian continues to cheat on Julia with the variety of movement as time passes. Pippa continues to spy and feels bad for her friend. One night she connects her computer to Julia's wireless printer and sends her a message informing her that her husband is cheating on her and that there is a used condom in the bathroom trash. Sebastian awakens and checks on Julia, who pretends that everything is fine. Meanwhile, Tom awakens and notices what Pippa is doing with the printer. Julia goes to the bathroom and checks the trash can. She finds the condom and Tom blames Pippa for interfering. But they see Julia grabbing a knife from the kitchen and attempting to murder her husband while he's sleeping. She fails and Tom breaks the binoculars and becomes enraged, wishing he had never gotten to this apartment. Pippa tells Tom that she's finished spying and they hug. But then she notices that Julia committed suicide and killed herself with the knife the night before. Tom breaks down and blames Pippa, then he breaks up with her and leaves. Pippa is depressed and observes Sebastian drinking across from her. He goes to a nearby bar and she follows him there. Sebastian looks at her while drinking alone, goes to sit down with her on a table he thinks he saw her before because of the Halloween party. They chat and he tells her that he used to have sex with other girls because it meant nothing with his relationship with Julia, who died because feelings weren't involved. Meanwhile, Tom returns to the apartment with flowers to apologize, but when he goes to get the bottle of water, he begins to dislike its taste and spills it in the bird cage. But when he does, he sees Pippa across the room having sex with Sebastian. Pippa wakes up and goes to her apartment. She finds flowers on the floor. But when she looks up, she is shocked to discover that Tom committed suicide and hung himself. She blames herself and has a difficult time. One day, she runs into her friend Ari and tells her the whole story. Ari tells her that it wasn't her fault and that she should not blame herself. Pippa wants to see Sebastian again, so she takes Ari to the exhibition. Sebastian is surprised when he sees her. He hangs red curtains to cover his photos on the wall until the reveal. He gets on stage to say something, but he says he's been working on a project and he introduces the audience to his partner, whom he introduces as Julia. Pippa is shocked to learn that Julia is still alive. Julia takes the stage to explain the project, telling the story of Pippa and Tom's neighbors who had been spying on them for weeks, knowing the entire time that they were being spied on. They reveal the photos on the wall. They are for Pippa, who is naked in the photos because Sebastian took them when they were together the other night. Pippa cries as she runs into her apartment and discovers a door in the ceiling. She opens it and discovers a room full of shooting and spying equipment. She lashes out and destroys the room. The next day, she wants to move out and she assists the workers in getting her belongings out. She goes to grab the bird's cage and finds the water in it and looks down to find a dozen poisoned dead birds. She looks across and sees Julia's waving at her. Later, Julia and Sebastian are having a TV interview about their project. It has gone worldwide, even reaching Japan, and they have made a lot of money with it. They both finish their interview and find a bottle of wine on the front door. Julia reads the paper on the bottle saying it's from the Tate. They both drink the wine and suddenly hear the printer working. They go to check it out and find a paper saying that they killed Tom. They see Pippa from the window to go after her in the streets. She goes inside the eye clinic where Pippa works and tells them what she has figured out. Julia put a poison in Tom's water and when he drank it, he fainted. So she hung him with ropes to look like he killed himself. Julia tells her that she has no proof and she faints. Sebastian also faints and he realizes that the wine they drank was poisoned and he blacks out. Pippa does not want to kill them and instead renders them unconscious by using the clinic's laser to burn their eyes. Days later, a new gay couple moves into Pippa's ex-apartment and observes Julia and Sebastian at their home, noticing that the couple has gone blind. Meanwhile, Pippa is on the roof with her broken binoculars, watching them from afar after she has taken her revenge. And this is where the movie comes to an end. I hope you enjoyed it. As always, until next time.